All right, good morning and welcome to our first press conference of the 2025 football season with App State football head coach Dowell Loggains. Coach Loggains will give us an opening statement. We'll take questions from media. If media could please state your name and affiliation when we pass the mic to you.
Appreciate everyone being here today. Obviously, it's an exciting week as you get ready to play your first game. We're excited that it's in Charlotte, an NFL venue. I think that's an awesome experience for our players, and it's a great recruiting tool for us as well. So with that, you get to see all the hard work we've put into this point, and they bust their tails. But now is when it really starts to matter, really count. So really excited about that, and I'll open up for questions.
Chris Womack, WLOS. Coach, I know the focus is going to be on the players and the games, but this will be your first game as a head coach. I'm just curious what the emotions are like for you heading into this.
It's like, to me, it's not there yet. I'm excited about today's practice because it is the most important thing it's the most important thing of the week for us right now is today. And this practice will be huge for us because it's our Tuesday practice. And it'll be the heaviest practice of the week, and we got a lot of preparation to do. So I'm excited about the work. I'm excited about the things the kids have put in, but also excited to see these guys go play.
Following up from that, it's also Tim Albin's first game as a head coach at Charlotte. And I know there's tape for both of you from your previous stops, but you have different personnel and whatnot. So how much do you feel like there's going to be a feeling out period, especially in that first half?
Yeah, one of the things I keep talking about is with our players is survive the assault, work the cut. If you're a boxing fan, you get that. But you got to be prepared for unscouted looks in week one. I mean, they could show up in a three-safety defense, something they've never shown before, and you got to have an answer for it. And we talked to our players about being ready to adjust. And even the way we practice, like some of the unscripted things this week we'll do is just get those guys ready to think on their feet, react, and also stay calm when the water gets choppy, because it will, because this is a talented team that's very well coached. So it's about adjusting. It's about, settling your nerves as fast as possible and getting used to as soon as they walk in the stadium. It's an NFL stadium. It's the first game of the season. They're going to be juiced up. They're going to be juiced up all week because it's opening day of the season. It's awesome. That's why we all do this. But it's about how we respond to adversity and prosperity as well.
Speaking of playing in an NFL stadium, you have almost 100 years of NFL experience on your coaching staff. What's the value of that versus more college experience in your mind?
Yeah, well, I think number one, it starts with recruiting, and we always talk about recruiting first around here. But just if you want to play at the highest level, and you got a staff full of 93 years of NFL experience, like there's something there that's going to help develop you. It's also most of the time the NFL, the playbook, the scheme is so broad and so advanced. It's more talent. It's more personnel based. It's more matchup based. So you think players over plays, and that's a big part of my offensive philosophy and defensive philosophy is players over plays. Make sure they're in situations to be successful. Do what they do well. Mitigate risk. And I think the NFL I think being trained in the NFL by all these people and the experience we have, the thought process more based on that versus plays over, just thinking about just the scheme only.
Bobby Phillips, WASU and AWN. And, Coach, you've been talking a little bit about the personnel on staff, and obviously there's a lot of new faces within App State football this year. But what's it like having defensive coordinator DJ Smith here, a guy who's coached at App State? He's been here before. He played here. What's it like having him getting you adjusted to the system here?
Yeah, it's been great because, number one, he bleeds black and gold. And you want people that care about the program. I think it's really, really important. Every place I've been when you were able to have the alum on the staff, it helped. When I was at Arkansas, I was a little bit better recruiter. I was a little bit better coach because I probably cared a little bit more when it's home. It's your home. And, like, the head coach obviously has an ultimate buy-in because everything falls back on me. But to get people that really cared about this place was really important. But we didn't hire him just because he's an App grad. We also hired him because he's a co-coordinator in the SEC and had done a really good job and played the style of play that we wanted. And when you turn on their linebacker and you watch their linebackers last year and their defense, they ran to the football. They created turnovers. They played hard. They were relentless. And I got to battle against them for 4 years between Arkansas and South Carolina. So for us to be able to go through an interview process and pick him we're very fortunate to have him. We're very blessed to have him. And it also gives us a guy that our players can really relate to because he's walked in their shoes. Like, he's been on King Street. He knows where the places to stay away are in a college town. He knows all the restaurants. He knows the people. So I can go to him and say, hey. But it's also important for me because I want to know about the tradition and past. And when you're new, you don't always know that. So we made every kid learn the fight song because we thought that was important because our athletic director always talks about you need to be from somewhere. Well, we want to create a program that in a transfer portal, NIL world, that you got to be from somewhere. And this place has to mean something to you and it has to be really special. You can't embrace that unless you embrace the tradition. And so we want to teach those guys about that. So having people like him and even Coach Spear on the staff that really care deeply about this place has been tremendous for us.
Bob Dillner, AWN, Coach, everybody wondering what it's going to be like on Friday and this team for this year. Through all these practices, what has impressed you about the offensive side and the defensive side of everything through practices?
I think it's the ability to embrace what we're asking. It's been hard. Like, probably 1,000 more reps than they had last year in training camp. And so we two-spot and practices are intense. But we also know the only way to get better is to practice and to work. So the work's been really hard, and they bought into it. And you could tell and we condition after practice. A lot of teams don't do that. That goes back to 2005, my first year in the NFL, and I'm watching Coach Parcells. We fly to California to Oxnard because he wants to be able to condition them and train them the right way in the right type temperature. He didn't want to have a bunch of IVs and guys and them laying in the training room being dehydrated. Well, we don't have to do that at Boone because the weather's great here. But they've embraced the work, and they haven't run from it. And it's been really, really hard. And there hasn't been – you can tell when you have buy-in and when you don't. Like, all of a sudden you have a 2-hour practice and you get on that line and you're about to run 10 perfect 40s. And if one person doesn't run through the line, you're blowing a whistle and you're starting over. And so you could tell that they know what this place is about. They know the guys that were here aren't happy with how things went last year. We got a lot of work to do. This is a big week for us, not just because it's a game week, because anytime you're getting ready for competition, it would be the first game or the 8th game. It's the same. But I'm just excited that our guys, they know what this place is about. They've bought into it, and the new guys have too. And it's about work. It's about honoring the tradition before us, and we want to leave it better than we found it.
And as a follow-up to that, obviously a lot of attention, quarterback, running back, wide receiver, all that sort of thing. But from your eyes, the coach's eyes, has somebody or a couple of people surprised you through these grueling practices prior to this first game?
Oh, yeah. I mean, absolutely. But for me to sit up here and be able to name them all, why I don't want to do that is I'd leave someone off that deserves the credit to be mentioned. I'm proud of this group. I'm proud of how they've bought into the team. Like, it's also, you're in a week, the first week is always really hard because now there's a scout team. And we've been going 1s, 2s, 3s, 4s and rotating. And there's a lot of competition going on. And then all of a sudden, someone's like, hey, for the first time has to go run a scout team. And so then you got some sad faces and heads are down a little bit for a couple guys. But the message to the team yesterday was, hey, guys, it's about the team. The team. And it will always be. It's bigger than myself. It's bigger than our athletic director. And you need to embrace the team. And the only way to help the team get better is to increase your own value. So I tell them stories about Tony Romo we called them 2020s in the Dallas Cowboys, because you worked for $20,000 a year, 20 hours a day. And I didn't make $20,000, but I worked the 20 hours a day. And I watched this third-team quarterback, and then we tried to give the job to Drew Henson. Every day they tried to give the job to this first-round draft pick for the Yankees, played at Michigan. They were trying to give the job to him over Tom Brady. And Romo just battled for 3 years and became the starter. And, the rest took care of itself. And just the guys that we've seen, Taylor Gabriel, guy we signed into the Atlanta Falcons, or when I was with the Cleveland Browns, and went on to the Atlanta Falcons and had a great career. I had one of our guys on the phone with Danny Amendola yesterday, a guy we got to coach for the Dolphins. And just the battle of, staying in the fight, perseverance. There are no great victories in life without overcoming something hard. So you battle that aspect of training camp as well when you move into the season. So I would say, to me, what I'm most pleased about with our team is the ability to buy into the team aspect of things.
Coach David Jackson, Parkway Sports. Kind of to piggyback off that a little bit, in a transitional year, chemistry means a lot. You throw the NIL, it means even more. What has it meant this week? Who are you leaning on to make sure you get through your first game week the way that you and your staff want that to be portrayed?
Yeah, we have a leadership council here that I meet with, that we talk about from everything, what movie we're going to watch the night before the game to the uniforms we're going to wear, how we can improve. I also want our players to have a voice in this program. Like, it's not a dictatorship, and I don't do everything they ask me to, but I also rely on them to police the locker room and tell me what I need to know. As the head coach, I don't need to know everything. I don't want to know everything, but I expect our leaders and our leadership council to handle the locker room. That locker room's sacred. So the things that happen in there stay in there, and they need to police themselves. But we met in this room yesterday, actually, at 1:30 before meeting started, just to talk about, hey, the state of the team, where we're at, what we need more of. Is there anything that you guys see that we can improve on? What uniforms do we want to wear in the opener? So, like, that group, they were voted on by their teammates, and that's a group that I rely on their voice and value their opinions.
David Ware, 24/7 Sports. Building on that a little bit, Dow, will that leadership council group carry a title of captains, or how are you going to handle those logistics?
No, great question. We'll do game captains based on. I think it's important for, there's going to be games when we play in Atlanta or somewhere else that we can also honor those guys that came here and be able to help let them be a captain for a game, or maybe someone had a great week of practice or doing stuff the right way. I think it's an honor to be a game captain. But when you talk about the leadership council, it is a group of I think 12 or 13 guys, and I do it by class. So each class has 2 to 3 representatives, and obviously there's 6 seniors, and 5 juniors, 3 sophomores, and 2 freshmen, because I also want to develop leadership in our program. I think that's a great way to do it. Is you got a couple freshmen in here that are watching how the seniors talk and finding out like what's really important. When you're a freshman, you think your swag, your NIL, what accessories you get to wear on game day are really important. But like when you get to be a senior, it's about winning, and it's about memories, and it's about brotherhood. So they get to see, and we get to groom guys in our program in the vision that we want for them. So I think that group of guys, they'll always be what we call our leadership council, and then the captains will be 4 guys selected weekly.
Talk a little bit about communications logistics in game. I know you called plays from the box at South Carolina for the last couple of years. I think Coach Juracek was one of your wingmen up there last season. With you being at field level and calling plays now, how will those logistics work from upstairs to down? Yeah,
well, and Coach Clyde and I were together with the Dolphins, and we were both on the sideline now. The head coach was the play caller in that role, but I was the offense coordinator. He was the senior assistant, associate head coach. And so the good thing is we've all worked together. Ryan's obviously a guy I trust a lot. We were together at Arkansas for a year, and then a guy that I brought to South Carolina was one of my first hires when I was able to become the offensive coordinator there. And he's got a great set of eyes. He knows what our scheme is. He's been around us for a long time, knows how to communicate with me. And sometimes, like, when in the heat of a game or a heat of a practice, it can be edgy and intense, and he knows when to talk and when not to, and what's important to me and what's important for our offense. Same thing with Coach Clyde. Like, he's seen so many things. It wouldn't matter if you put him in the press box, on the sideline, or over here in this building. He's going to see things that the untrained eye is not going to see. So I feel really good about the communication. And I've called plays from when I was in Chicago and Tennessee. I called plays on the field as well. So it's important. But with all the experience we do have on our coaching staff, that's the communication I feel really good about.
Understanding that each of these situations individually comes with a ton of considerations, can you give us a general philosophy of yours on going for 4th down conversions?
Yeah, I do think it's feel. I'm not necessarily like, hey, let's get the analytics book and the CIA and CAI, book. We have it. It's a tool. It's a resource. We've done a lot of work. Coach Spear has been a head coach. Coach Higgins has been a head coach. Coach Spear actually ran the book the last couple of years here and did it for Coach Satterfield at Cincinnati and here as well. So for me, it was, I call them the wise men. You got Coach Higgins, you got Coach Spear and Coach Clyde and Coach Bob Sanders. And we put ourselves in these situations throughout training camp and throughout spring ball where we had a lot of unscripted situational work, 2-minute work, 4-minute work. And then we have game management meetings and we have situational master meetings with our players where we talk about these situations, our philosophies. I do think the fourth down stuff is a little bit of feel. What's the score of the game? How's your quarterback playing? How's their quarterback playing? Is it a game where you're going to have to score 35 points to win the game, or can you win the game 17-14? So I think there's a lot of different things that go into it. I don't think it's like, hey, we're going to stick to the book and we're going for it on every 4th and 2. So we've I think it's feel. I think it's planned going into the week. We have a coordinators meeting every morning at 7 a.m., which I call the Wise Council with Higgins and Sanders and Christensen and Spear and myself, Coach Crosby, Coach Fuller, guys that have coordinator titles, and we're on the same page of just building, hey, how are we going to win this game? Like, what do we have to do as an offense, defense, and special teams, play complementary football to win this one? So the strategy of this thing, we invest a lot of time in the front end. So when you get in the heat of the game, the moments of the game, you're not playing Madden and just reaction, like going for it. It's 4th and 7. Who cares? Let's go for it. Where there's a strategy to it as well, and you got to be ready to adjust based on how the game's going.
How are you going to be handling the quarterback situation this week?
As far as
have you named a starter? I'm sorry if you have, and I
we
haven't
have
been
not.
yet.
I'm going to make that question as hard on you as it is on me. We have not named a starter, and we are currently working through that, and we're still rotating. The competition is still open. They're both there's really 2.5, 3 guys that are in this competition at this point right now. I'm not going to sit here and talk about who they are, but I'm going to tell you guys there's still 3 guys really that are in the competition to compete for this job. And they're going to all rotate with the ones they did yesterday as well, because we are a Monday operation team and Sundays are off. So yesterday was our Monday, today's our Tuesday, and we're gonna continue to see how the week goes. We don't have a starter right now. We feel good about our quarterback situation, and if someone plays better than the other one throughout practice, then we're gonna be ready. And I also see a scenario where multiple guys play in the game as well.
Matt President, App State Sports Network. Coach, obviously a lot of teams in college football have a lot of new, whether it's transfers, whether it's coaches. As you approach the Charlotte game, what has your process and your staff's process been in terms of trying to scout what you expect to see on game day?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It's what makes the opener always hard, because you got to be ready for unscouted looks, things that aren't, that haven't shown up on tape for both sides. Like, in all 3 phases of the ball, you're going in there, and when it's week 7, you watch their last 4 games and like, hey, look, we know what their philosophy is. We know what they do, and you have a better plan to attack. Now, this one, your plan going the first one is more broad, and most of the time it's more about you and you playing well and being able to adjust. So every game plan I've ever been in, the opening game has been bigger than it probably should have been, just because you don't know what it's going to look like. Like I said before, we didn't play that great in our opener last year at South Carolina, and we let ODU hang in a game with us for a long, long time. But we also were starting a freshman quarterback that didn't play as well as obviously he did. It kept getting better and better each week. But you do what you do well. You try to put your guys in the best positions to be successful, and you just get ready to adjust. Like, we have a general idea of what they've shown at Ohio, and you scout everybody. You look at where their assistant coaches came from. Here's what we do know about these guys: they're going to be well coached, because Tim's a good football coach, and they're going to be well coached. He's going to cut down on the turnovers. They're going to be able to run the football. They're going to stop the run, and they're not going to be a penalized team. That's what we know for sure, because there's an identity he has created with a style of play. And then once we get into the game, we got to be ready to adjust, and our players have to be ready to adjust. And I feel good about all 3 phases, that our schemes are big enough where we've thrown a lot at these guys, a lot of football. And you got 93 years of NFL experience, so Bob Sanders has never seen a blitz he didn't like. Coach Christensen invented the forward pass, I think. And Coach Higgins, like, same thing. Like, I feel really good about our coaching staff being able to adjust after the first series. And it's going to be, you can't wait to get them on the sideline to adjust. You got to be a great communication that we talked about earlier and make sure that it's fluid and we're moving fast and we're talking fast and we're communicating fast. And the great thing about college football now is Coach Smith and I can get in the quarterback or linebacker's heads and say, hey, look, it's more inside zone than we thought it was. Or, hey, they're in a 3-safety defense. Like, we're getting to these plays and these blocking adjustments. So it makes the communication a little bit easier than it has before when it was just a signal operation only.
Yeah, expanding on that, with it being year 2 of the communication devices in helmet and year 2 of the tablets on the sidelines, how do you plan to utilize those technologies and kind of what is the method of how you go about communicating with your staff and then relaying that information?
Yeah, well, I think the 93 years of NFL experience helps us because we're all used to that. And even the same things that we've been able to talk to Coach Smith about, because this will be the first time he's ever called a game, and saying, hey, this is how we use it. Here's some pluses and minuses of using it. You also got to understand, like, hey, the faster you get on the ball, that thing doesn't cut off till 15 seconds. So you can talk to your linebackers, you can talk to your quarterbacks, you can make more adjustments before it cuts off. So, and also it plays into this mode. Think about this one is teams that want to see your formation stuff. Well, you can break the huddle late, and all of a sudden they can't. All of a sudden you're a huddle operation, you're breaking a little bit later. Well, they can't call into the linebacker and say, hey, it's 2x2 open, get to this defense, and they got to signal it in. So there's also advantages to making people uncomfortable about how they communicate as well.
As you've gone through camp and practices since in the evaluation process, what are some attributes that you and your staff have tried to rely on as you construct the depth chart and as you construct who's playing and where they're playing on Friday, not just in terms of offense, defense, but then how that translates to special teams as well?
Yeah, great question. We're always going to look at a couple things, and smart, tough, competitive is always going to be that. Like, we want smart players, and smart players, it's such a vague term, but like, can they take the coaching and apply it? That's what smart is. Like, it's not about what your IQ is, what your GPA is, or what your Wonderlic was. Is, can I take the information I'm being given and apply it? And can I do two things at once? And that shows up a lot. Can I think about doing something and be able to adjust as that thing pops up? I think it's also a great sign of players that have success from going from college football to the NFL. It's what we always looked for. And the guys that are really successful can do two things at once, and they can think and they can adjust. The other part of it is that when we got here, we didn't know a lot about the roster. So you go through spring ball, and it was a little bit different. We just wanted to get a general feel of, hey, this is what each person is. We have changed some positions of guys to put them in what's best for the team. Obviously, when you take over a team, and there's a reason why you're taking it over, and we're not to where we want to be right now. As far as the football goes or any aspect of it, but it's about putting the best 22 out there and figuring out what they do well. So there's also been an experiment like, hey, let's see if this guy can play this position. Let's see if he can do this and move these guys around, because each position has a criteria and traits that you're looking for. And sometimes you get recruited as a safety and you can move into the box and play linebacker. And most of the time it's easier to move back than it is move forward. Most of them you can recruit, move forward than back, and you can recruit the defensive end that can go play linebacker, and then you can go find the safety that can move to linebacker. Or sometimes they play high school linebacker and they play safety in our system, or they play nickel or whatever that looks like. So I think that one of the traits that I took from my college coach, Houston Nutt, was he was a Jimmy Johnson disciple. And you talk about Jimmy and Coach Nutt and Butch Davis, those guys that came up under that tree, they were really good at taking Darren McFadden, who was a safety, and playing him at running back. And those, I'm not saying we have Darren McFadden, but I just watched it so many times. Jason Peters started off as a defensive lineman. He lived right next to me in the dorm. And he plays 18 years as an offensive tackle, and he played at Arkansas. He played defensive line. He was a tight end, and we could never talk him into playing offensive line, but we kept telling him, hey, you're going to be a Hall of Famer if you do. You're that talented. He played on the basketball team. Or Matt Jones, who was a quarterback first rounder that went to wide receiver. And so we take our whole roster and we look at, hey, where can we plug? This is what we have now. Hey, that portal, once the portal's over, this is the roster you have. and how do we get the best 22 on there on offense, defense? How does it affect special teams? Because that obviously affects the travel roster, and put these guys in positions to be successful and use all of their strengths and hide their weaknesses.
Thank you, Coach.
Appreciate you guys.